Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 125 of the Toonami Escape Podcast. I'm Greg Zeno. Tonight we have B-Dubs,
Hello.
C-Kohler, C-Kohler,
Hey guys.
Seagull.
Sorry.
hey, C. Already in
Hey.
that Fallout 76 beta, huh?
No, I just had my mic muted again.
Oh, god damn it, stupid Deathclaw! And Raxus.
Being late to podcast is my magic.
Had to be someone's magic.
Yeah.
Are you trying to be the Wizard King?
I'm trying to be the tardy king. I'll get there eventually.
We've got some goddamn news!
Oh boy, howdy do we.
Because the new show is Mob Psycho 100 and it starts this
It's
week.
good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Somebody said it was going to be funny when they cut that opening.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 1,
90
2.
99.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, Mob Psycho is a great fucking show. It's a great catch. Obviously, this is the show he's been talking about. He couldn't talk about it initially because I guess he had some rights issues to work out with it initially,
Probably
Well.
due to this whole Funimation thing.
which is what we're going to talk about next. But it's with Mob Psycho coming to the block. That's the second one manga that's going to hit the block, including after One Punch Man.
And guess
Well,
what?
He's
Mob
only got the
Psycho.
two.
Mob Psycho 100 is better than One Punch Man.
It very much is. Don't be deceived initially by the looks for newcomers. I'm pretty sure almost everyone here is familiar with it somewhat. It does follow one's art style, as in it's kind of it's rough
It's
to say the
sketchy.
least. But it's Bones adapts it to make it goddamn pretty.
Well, anyone who saw the promo could tell.
But they go like above and beyond. Like the ending for this is pretty god tier because they whip out freaking painted glass for the ending.
Yeah, I would say it's the best looking TV anime to air in like the last 10 years.
Cool.
It's pretty darn good looking. There's some really good looking anime up there, but it's certainly gonna be pretty fun to talk about.
Is it 12 or 24 episodes?
It is 20.
It's 12 episodes.
It's 12 episodes. Yeah, it's
But,
okay.
but season 2 starts in January.
So it could run into 24, and
Mm,
hopefully adapt the best arc.
well, Funimation doesn't do the dub. It was Was it Bang Zoom?
Yeah, it's Bang Zoom, I think. They
Yeah.
they contracted out. so-
Crunchyroll, in fact, contracted Bang Zoom to do the dub.
Which is weird that we have it now.
Yeah, which is why we think it's kind of something to do with this recent split up of Funimation and Crunchyroll. That
Like,
lasted 2 years.
Maybe this was like the last deal they had.
Well, it does make sense that like DeMarco was ready to probably get this show on the block after whatever just left. I forget what it was. And so
Well,
yeah.
Attack nothing left, but
No,
Attack-
no.
Bebop left, but it was
Bebop,
as a rerun. But Fully Cooley Alternative got slotted into the Reno slot.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just saying that like when Cowboy Bebop ended, I think they would have expected Mob Psycho 100 to go right away, and that I think this like Funimation announcement might have delayed them like a week.
Yeah.
that.
So quick thing about the Funimation announcement. Funimation and Crunchyroll split up. They're no longer partners. It was kind of a meeting convenience because Amazon was getting in the market, but
Yeah.
Amazon was idiots
Yeah.
when making their anime strike.
hey,
and it-
B-Dubs, how bad is that guy getting it?
Oh, he's getting it so bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So with the failure of anime strike, Funimation, Crunchyroll really didn't have to unite anymore, and they're now competitors again. So
And there was this split up is actually a direct result of the Sony acquisition because now Sony there was a internal memo release that was like, dear Funimation, Sony doesn't want us paying AT&T anymore because inevitably these two Sony's looking like, well, you're a small. I mean, you were a small company that worked with other small company, but now you're part of Sony working with company that is part of AT&T. Yeah.
This mostly affects Verve, but it will be interesting how this affects the block on the way out, because I don't know if this means if they're going to do anything adjustments with the funding of we get a lot of Funimation shows, so.
Well, it shouldn't hurt. I don't think it changes much.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't think it changes as far as unless Funimation gets like High Dive and starts like hoarding their dubs.
Yeah, because Verve no longer carries Funimation, but they're getting High Dive to replace them.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming Verve is part, and the High Dive is now the cheaper option of the two.
Hey, B-Dub, I gotta tell you, man, we can hear every single button press, man.
I'm sorry.
It's like really loud too.
My bad.
Those homeless dudes will have to wait.
Yes, they've all been killed.
Okay. Go ahead.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's playing Spider-Man. Okay, go ahead.
That's all. I mean, High Dive has been replaced on Verve. I'm assuming because there's a cheaper option of the two now.
Yeah.
We'll see how this kind of shakes out. It's kind of a bummer for me because I'm a Verve prescriber. And there's a lot of good Funimation dubs. I mean, they get a lot of big names on their site, but it's I think the biggest one that just kind of hurts is I'm gonna probably be sticking to the subtitles for the My Hero Academia on going forward.
Everyone basically thinks that the biggest stuff, like One Piece, will continue to be on Crunchyroll because Toei does the licensing for that. They dictate terms to Funimation and Crunchyroll, and then big stuff like MHA people think is because that was before the deal, basically.
Yeah, anything before the deal is probably going to stay the way it is.
Another note is that Funimation now wants to be a big player in dub and sub anime.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like, this deal where we did the dub and Crunchyroll did the sub? Fuck them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to do the, script anyway, so they might as well.
Yeah.
Probably saves them a bit of money, Heck, no, actually, it probably makes them a bit of extra money.
It's a weird time, streaming service wars. There's a billion of them now.
I can't wait until 90% of them just go extinct. The only reason streaming worked is because there were 3 of them.
And then you realize all of it's going to be behind paywalls like Anime High Dive.
Yeah. It's like when it was just, Netflix, Hulu, and maybe Amazon Prime. It was like, okay, this will probably work. It's still cheaper than, a cable subscription. But then they add in, Funimation, High Dive, Crunchyroll, that new fucking Disney thing.
I mean, that Disney thing is probably actually going to stick around just because Disney.
It's Disney.
Then again, it's probably going to just be the cable 2.0 because you're going to get package deals like Verve, where it's just like, okay, you get this cable package with these streaming services.
Get the Verve package. Get the Netflix. Yeah.
It's going to be a shit show. People are already starting to go back to cable because it's
they're starting to go back to piracy.
Well, I mean, it's starting to go back to both, but yeah. It's coming back, and please, for the love of God, don't mention, where to get piracy stuff on the forums. God.
No.
Well, you have to find One Piece first, and then...
All I know is that shit's a headache.
If you wave a skull and crossbones, you're a pirate. But as long as you wave a seagull and an anchor, you're a marine, and you're good.
Exactly.
No, anyway, Mob Psycho 100's fucking amazing, and now the entire Here, I'm sitting here all year thinking these are going to be the 3 in the top 3 of best show, and now it's like,
Yeah, I was about to say I really hate to be like end of the year. Like there's some things like in JoJo, there's a particular character that's gonna show up like at the end of the year. I'm like, oh thank
oh,
God.
he's going to miss. He's going to miss. He's going to miss the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out whether or not we're going to get King versus Netero before the end of the year.
No.
Like, I think we're going to get
No,
it before the awards, but that's about it.
116, and that's in the 120s area.
Yeah.
So, well, we're not gonna make it. Which is probably
Yeah.
for the best because I think this year and next year's
Oof.
awards are gonna be freaking jacked. So
Yeah. Like, if that was for this year's awards, it'd probably be the shoe-in, but next year it might be a little rougher.
Yeah.
Quick. I think the only other thing I want to say, Mob Psycho 100, is just kind of a quick summary of it. Basically,
Wait.
We're
Well,
good.
no, no,
spoilers.
no.
I don't know anything.
No.
dude.
nothing.
I don't
No
wanna know anything.
spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers. I just it's just kind of
No summary.
not even
Yeah.
for like the first 5 minutes. Everything
Nope.
No.
No, man. I want to go in completely. I know
Okay.
nothing. I know he's a psychic. That's all I know.
And I'm not gonna say a damn thing.
Okay.
But it's a very good show. It like Grexina pointed out, it kind of has the humor of One Punch Man, but it's a little bit more serialized, and there's actually there's actually a lot of character development with particular characters. So really look forward to it and expect particular best character nomination for by one of the characters in the show.
Maybe.
I know exactly which one, and he's awesome.
You can't see it, but I'm making a lot of gestures right now.
Oh, you're doing an Ida.
Mhm.
Anyway, let's talk about the block. My Hero Academia episode 23, Shoto Todoroki Origin. In this episode, Deku breaks every single bone in his body.
A couple of them twice.
Yep. Well, first it broke, and then it was liquefied. There are no
Yeah.
bones in those fingers anymore.
Nope.
And
Yeah,
then
I mean,
some
like-
sweet-ass animation.
I was gonna say, let's go out of the gate and just say an amazing episode that was animated wonderfully, beautifully. It looked amazing.
Whenever you see cubes, it's like, oh, this is gonna be good animation.
Yeah. And and I liked the way it was told too. It wasn't just a great fight. It was also this compelling backstory about Todoroki and what he went through.
This is probably one of the best directed episodes of My Hero Academia by far, just because the way they break it up, it's just not just like the great animation, but the pacing of the fight. They on Mother's Basement, they had a great breakdown of the fight. Unfortunately, it contains a couple spoilers from a couple episodes after the fight airs, so I couldn't post it, but.
Spoilers.
It does a really good breakdown, just like what the fight kind of how they pay, just not just how they pace the fight, but why the fight was important to each of the characters and why it it was kind of a good conclusion for Deku's side of the story on the tournament arc. So
Yeah,
because he lost.
He
pretty
lost.
bad.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like this fight, and some of the others like Uraraka's I liked, this one I liked, and some of the others I was kind of like, whatever. But this one, it had that other stuff going on in the background that I was talking about that, kind of make good tournament arcs.
Also, guys, Deku cries too much.
Well, yeah,
Fuck
this
you,
was
I'm gonna break every bone of my body to prove a point to you.
Yeah, this is a different side of Deku, I think, than we've ever seen, where he was almost like a bit of a maniac.
Madman Deku was born, and
Yeah,
he's not the last you'll see of him.
There was a shot in this episode, like right before they cut to commercial, where he was just like, he looked a little like Bakugo in that kind of
menacing
crazy face he made.
You just need the JoJo menacing logos going across them. But I love that scene. It also has my favorite line: "You're shivering, Todoroki." You haven't put a scratch on me yet. And then he clutches broken fingers. He says, "Now come at me with all you've got."
Like,
It's just like, Venus.
Yeah.
You haven't put a scratch on me yet. Arm is falling off.
that was me. I did that to myself.
It's only a flesh wound.
I did like that pictures. It was, I think, Neoxian. I can't pronounce his name. Neoxian. Posted of it's Naruto saying, "I'll break all the bones in your body to tell you how I feel," and Sasuke just flicking them off. And then it shows Deku, "I'll break all the bones in my body to show you how I feel." And Todoroki's like, "Aw."
Like tears in his eyes.
But it's
Yeah, I mean, again, great episode. The way it was directed was great. The animation was great. The music was great. The characterization of these characters are great. I did not know, I think, until this episode that his mom, like, I don't know exactly why she burned his face. I don't know if she was like
well,
stressing out or what.
there's a lot of like dark implications that they've kind of skirted over. First of things, she was in it's arranged court marriages. She of
Yeah.
course has ice power. Endeavor has the fire power, and they wanted to produce a superhero stronger than All Might. So it was an arranged marriage. Um, so uh, it le- it leads to a lot of horrific kind of implications that I
Yeah,
think
I
the
mean,
author
like,
kind of skirts around a little bit.
it
But
is really raising a lot of red flags, specifically for Endeavor in being a hero, because he is so far been portrayed as like the darkest villain in the show.
Yeah,
I mean,
like this.
they really don't hide the fact that he abuses both his kid, well,
Yeah,
Todoroki especially, and most likely he did abuse his wife too. He slaps
that's
her.
what I'm saying. Yeah, it's crazy. Like they
Mhm.
did not show it, but it was like off screen where he was hitting his wife.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, Endeavor is far from a good guy. I mean, but I think that's part of the reason why this episode is so compelling, because it does focus on the characters. Like it gets a starting point for Endeavor, and kind of why he's such just an enormous asshole.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
mean,
it kind of gives more context into Todoroki, and in turn Deku, because Deku can't give his all for his at all because of his power limitations. And then here's Todoroki purposely handicapping himself, and that's what really pissed him off.
Yeah.
So I mean, even though Deku loses the fight, the ideological struggle, he gets Todoroki to actually use his full power and go all out, because everyone else in the tournament's going all out to win it.
mhm.
BWZ had something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like this episode is more or less the one that kind of got me on the no, you can't redeem this guy train. Like, he's kind of gone way too far at this point.
And I think the series does a good job of kind of acknowledging that, but still kind of keeping him a character.
Well,
But
yeah, I know, but at the same time, like, I kind of know where it goes, and it's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna redeem this guy, and like, he's
I don't
not
think they're
so
gonna
bad.
redeem him. But
Well, I mean, like, they did kind of go into he's not so bad, and then I'm kind of like, no, he's horrible and needs to be in jail.
slurp.
Slurp.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I just had a weird thought. This is so random, but you know how Todoroki's mom is like an ice. She has like ice powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do you think that like young girl that they show in the opening is her?
Who are you talking?
I know exactly who you're talking about, and we'll
The
get
the
more
little.
context on that girl, I think, a little bit later.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay, well, I'm talking about the bit where like yeah, at the beginning of every episode, they're like quirks suddenly appeared in the world, and then it shows like some fat guy
Oh,
turning a book.
Oh,
oh
that girl, the
no,
girl with the ice thing. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, kind of seems like it would be, but anyway.
That opening doesn't really matter.
I know it doesn't, but I'm just like, I thought it would be a cool like little
It's
Easter egg.
powered. It's
If
yeah.
we one day see a heavyweight guy in his 40s who's flipping a book with his finger, I'm gonna be like, "Ha! See, look,
I mean,
there it is."
that's literally just basic telekinesis.
No,
Right.
that's future Deku. Well,
Well, I'm
like he,
assuming they're showing those people again. Why am I talking about this? They're showing those people as like the first quirk users. You know what I mean?
Nah.
I know it's not literal. I'm just like I wondered. It'd be a cool little Easter egg if that was a thing. But anyway,
They were in one panel.
I know. Well, that's exactly the kind of great Easter egg planting you do if you're a good mangaka.
Their powers aren't even so specific. It's just like I can make things move with my mind, and
And a girl
look,
with ice powers, just like
ice.
Todoroki. It's Todoroki's power.
They're too broad. You can't
Yeah.
call back to them because they're so broad.
But there is, I mean, even then, there's a really obscure character in the first chapters that may become slightly more relevant later on.
The Doctor.
No, I'm talking about the I think it was one of Bakugo's friends, but
Oh
we'll
yeah,
get
well
to that.
that's almost basically confirmed. Anyway,
But let's. I wanted to get back to talking about the episode a little bit more because I did want to raise the manga chapters of it because I posted some manga panels of it, and this is one. It's probably one of my favorite. It's also one of my favorite manga chapters of all time because the way Hirokoshi illustrates the manga panels and how he like the attacks are actually on a little bit of a slant depending on where they're coming from. He does really good paneling and everything, so it's good to actually kind of read the manga and watch the episode. I think it was very both the manga and the episodes really illustrates what this was basically the point that I was all in on My Hero Academia and kind of became a huge fan.
yeah, this is the hour-long episode for this show.
Cool.
Anyway, Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden 223, The Young Man in the Sea. There's this dude with a filler-ass haircut.
Oh
and
my
a
god,
fish.
guy's haircut.
Exciting fishing action.
Woo! I'm very disappointed that Guy did not just pull a dash from The Incredibles and just kick really fast in the water.
So
Speedboat.
there's a kind of funny thing. Like whenever a character enters the boat in any anime or manga, it's always a bad sign of what's to come.
oh yeah.
And this is no different.
What are you telling me about One Piece?
One Piece is built around
It's-
boats, so that's
It's the exception.
yes. But like Hunter x Hunter, character boards a boat, hiatus.
They're currently on a giant boat. They're
same
currently
thing.
on a giant boat floating in a small lake on top of another larger boat.
Which
Yeah.
makes no fucking sense.
Yes, it does, Hunter x Hunter.
In Berserk, they got on a boat, and it was one of the biggest hiatuses the series ever had. And at the end of a very, very long drawn out arc, he gets off the boat. And is like, seemed like no time at all.
Seemed like no time at all. 20 years later.
Anyway, this episode sucked. It was a stupid fishing episode with Filler Man
horrible.
5000, who was about as fillery as can get. Of course, it was
You
all
can
resolved.
always tell it's the hair. You can
It's there.
always
Like he was the one character who did not look like a background character. It's the only thing that set him apart, though. You know, he had the stripe
Yep.
in his hair,
Yeah.
and it was just a giant fish. They caught the giant fish. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go on to Boruto. Boruto, Naruto Next Generations Episode 4, a ninjutsu battle of the sexes. In this very special episode of Boruto, the children learn that there are different...
The boys
can't
and the
even
girls
finish.
learn that they're not so different after all.
on this
Boys have-
episode of Saved by the Boruto.
On this
Boys
episode,
have penis.
Boruto.
Boys have penises and girls have vaginas. That's what they learned.
What?
part of the,
Ugh.
And then they realize, oh wow, we have so many boy main characters and like 3 girl main characters.
We have 2 notable main.
Okay, well let's
Whoops.
talk. How many here had seen the subtitled version of this? Anyone?
No.
No.
Crickets.
Okay. Well, people were talking in the thread a lot about like the voice of Cho Cho being like weird.
It sounds like it was recorded in a completely different location on a computer.
Yeah, I think also people were saying, and I don't know much about this character, but they were saying that that voice doesn't fit her, like the
I don't know.
personality of it.
It seemed fine.
I don't know how to take it.
Because she becomes a bigger character as the series goes on.
Yeah. She has a kind of like, I don't want to say Valley Girl's way of speaking, but she's kind of like a blasé, kind of like whatever kind of character.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've read a little bit of it, and I've sort of seen the character on and off, and I kind of see it, you know?
You can see it. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good then. Maybe it's not so bad.
Well,
Like-
also the manga.
Well, I mean, it covers this literally the same shit. I mean, from what little I've seen of her character, it seems like it fits. You know, like I don't. It's one of those things where accents are hard to transfer over. Like, Kansai accents usually wind up with people sounding like they're from the Old West or something.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dialect.
I didn't. It didn't bother me, but it was just people were pointing it out. I thought maybe you guys had insight into why it sounded wrong. But
We'll see. I think just give it some time, and eventually, I think people will just kind of get used to it. Because unless it's like noticeably bad, then I think most people tend to it tends to kind of settle in once you've watched the series for 70 something episodes.
the actual episode itself, though, honestly, I'm having a hard time remembering much of it. It was
They
just
blew up the school.
they literally blew up the school at the
It's
end. But yeah, it was
Boys
just like
versus girls.
yeah,
Like,
they had like what's the guy's name? The bug guy,
Shino.
Shino.
I
who
must
is their-
also say, Shino is so fucking lame.
Yeah, he's like turned into like a real dork. But anyway, he set a bunch of traps, and he's like, the first person to get the flag wins.
Also,
And,
I have placed landmines.
yeah, and we now have like terminals that can be computer hacked and shit like that.
The third Naruto show is just going to be like just hacking
yeah.
It doesn't mind. I actually don't
on
mind that.
motorcycles.
I mean, like it gives Denki something interesting to do. But
How do I hack? I'll Google this.
I mean, he literally has a ninja laptop. I mean, come on, guys.
Hmm.
One thing though, the only other notable thing in the episode was that Boruto was able to summon some kind of crazy demon thing that we didn't really get a good look at, and people were like, "Whoa, he should not have been able to do that."
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
summon
like-
crazy demon shit.
Like it was like he was summoning Cthulhu or some bullshit, you know?
It's like, yeah, like it wasn't a snake, but then it like had like a snake tail, or I don't know what it was. But the implication is that like that should have been beyond his abilities, and so anyway, they all helped each other in the end, and
Yeah.
actually don't even remember how it ended. Oh! Then a mysterious boy showed up at the very end, who we've
Oh,
seen in
yeah.
the opening.
Hmm.
I wonder if he's going to be a bad guy.
No, because he's clearly one of the main 3 characters.
Well,
It's so obvious.
Anyway, I can't believe this is in a universe where Konohamaru is way cooler than Shino,
Yeah, seriously.
and it's not even close.
We slipped
I think-
into an alternate dimension at some point. I'm convinced.
Also, it's like it also helps too a lot the voice they gave Conan. Like he sounds cool. Like he has a
Meanwhile,
good
Shino's
voice.
over here like, "Hey, kids."
Yeah, Chino. Yeah, he's just like a real dork. He hasn't used his bug powers at all either, has he?
No. No.
This is a character that, like, for the most part in the original series, his track record for defeating opponents is pretty high. Like he could kick people's asses.
And he was like really like he always had his face covered up, and he was like a real like kind of brooding guy and
This
kind of
is the
cool.
dude who one, murdered some people with blood-sucking leeches. 2, blew off that sound guy's arms. 3, fucked the shit out of Konkuro. And then after that, he doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then he turns into this.
Yeah, Shino's been downgraded.
It's a shame.
He's basically a completely different character. We should just Shino Light or something. Like he's no
Shino
longer.
Light, yeah.
Also, yeah, remember in the Forest of Death where all these adorable children are just murdering each other, and it's like, hey, here's the Hinata team. They murdered that dude with leeches. It's kind of weird and brutal.
Yep.
Anyway, Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super episode 84. Goku, the talented scout. Shouldn't that be the talent scout? Recruits. This is the Goku, the talent scout. Recruit Krillin and Android 18 is what I remember it being. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's not like he doesn't know Krillin and 18 can fight. You know, like it should just be, hey, you guys want to come? Yeah, okay.
But
To
the
be
thing
fair,
is,
though, like I think one thing I think this episode starts to trend, and why I think some people like question like why certain characters may wind up on the team, is it's not just strict power; it's also technical capabilities, like we saw with this. Krillin actually knows a lot of moves, not just the Destructo Disc, but the Solar Flare.
Oh, Krillin.
They do a few Dragon Ball callbacks, which is nice too. But Android 8, I love that Android 18 is only there because she just wants to make money. $10 million. Okay, I'm in.
Hey, Krillin's on a cop salary. He needs that. You know, they got school fees to pay and stuff soon.
Did they learn at the end of the episode that the universe is at stake?
Nope.
They still don't know.
He's gonna get there, and Zeno's gonna be like, "Okay, better win, or we'll kill you all." And they're gonna be like, "The fuck."
Pretty much.
I do like 18 though. I mean, like, I'm just so glad that she's gonna be in this thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
For money.
Well, I mean, you know, you got to fill out the roster somehow.
And it's nice to actually have some female characters in the force because it's going to be mostly guys, and both in the tournament power and on the Goku's team.
And then like I mean, it's kind of sad but cool at the same time that like Krillin's ace in the hole is that he's got his wife. So it's like if something bad happens to Krillin, she's gonna be there for him. So.
And let's be honest here. You want them both because 18s are way better than Krillin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Krillin. Oh, he's got his. He has his. What is it? Solar flare times 10.
Ooh, times 100.
Ooh, 100.
Too bad they get there and there's no sun.
Because it's in the void.
Because it's in space.
Did they ever explain why Krillin has those dots on his forehead? Or did
I have
nobody?
no idea.
I think he was a monk when he started out, and that's why he shaved his head religiously. And retired and got married at 18. He just stopped shaving. That's why he got hair.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Because in original Dragon Ball, you see some fighting monks that kind of dressed like Krillin in the World Martial Arts Tournament.
Got it.
Anyway, Goku has Gohan test his skill, and then Gohan loses.
Well, I mean, someone's got a job to Krillin. You know, like they have to show Goku that you can't just power your way through everything. So instead of having Goku job a little bit, they have Gohan do it. Because God forbid Goku, takes an L.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. And then, like, Goku kind of lost on a technicality in the second round of this little matchup, and then, basically gets told off by Marin. And, like the little baby that he is, he's so upset about the fact that he lost.
Yeah,
I didn't lose.
Uncle
Yeah.
Goku's a loser.
it's one of those things. It's like he can't eat the L because like mentally he would not be able to handle it.
They should
I know.
add Mir into the team, just the savage remarks.
It might actually help them win if she's around and be like, Uncle Goku's getting defeated. Look, you like power him up.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, bullshit, I am. No, that would probably work better on Vegeta, to be honest. Like Vegeta's facing the big bad of the entire series, and it's like, Vegeta, you can't possibly win.
Don't
It's
worry,
like,
Uncle Vegeta. Goku will help us. Vegeta, Super Saiyan 2000.
like he's gonna be like, bullshit.
Mine's that Cell, Dig, and Team 4-Star. Just do what you've always done. Wait for Goku. Anyway, they have a fight. Goku and Krillin have a fight on top of Mr. Satan's tower.
Satan Tower.
Satan Tower. Everyone. The jewel of the skyline, Satan Tower.
You know it's Satan Tower because it's got a giant picture of his face on the side.
Yep. Like, and yet somehow it's still less gaudy than Trump Tower.
And yeah, they fight. Apparently, people thought it was cool. I wasn't paying attention.
It
Wait,
I was kind of drifting in and out. It was whatever. It was okay. I'm just glad that they're on board, and now they're going to go after 17, who's hanging out in the woods or something.
They're like, we gotta get a park ranger.
But first, we gotta find him. There's something I do want to note, though. At the point of tournament power, the animation staff actually starts to get their shit together. So the episodes tend to be a lot more consistent, and there tends to be some decent to nice animation in most of the episodes. And this episode was no exception with the Krillin Goku fight.
Oh yeah, and I don't want to diss this episode. I think it was fine. I would just say that like it felt like story wise it was kind of spinning its wheels. It's like we all know that Krillin and 18 are going. It's just like we have to watch them like come to terms with it. That's kind of the only issue.
I think the more interesting stuff comes later in the arc as they kind of focus on certain characters and yeah, those I think is and one really nice surprise too.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, episode 46, Ruler of the Walls. In this episode, that will freak out absolutely nobody.
That was some creepy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, we can't undersell this. There was a shot in this episode of this giant Titan with half its face missing that has to be considered one of the most gruesome things to ever air on Toonami.
Yeah,
Not just that, like its guts weren't just exposed; they actually fell off onto the wall. I'm just like,
oh yeah, that was gross. Like that had to be up there with some of those Black Lagoon scenes during the Vampire Twins.
Like I'm actually surprised it wasn't censored. It was so gory.
They probably couldn't find a way to do it.
I mean, I'm glad it did it, and I'm just like, wow. But it is shockingly gory.
Actually, it just stands up. It's the solid black Titan.
It might have been just because it's a Titan. Like I can't imagine. Yeah, like I imagine if it had been an actual like person, they would have been like, nope.
It is weird though because Titans are kind of like people.
Well, yeah, so
I mean, it's like I guess like a zombie in that way.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is just anatomically grotesque.
Yeah, like I imagine zombies have different rules for this, so
right.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, people were wondering, it's like, how did his face get that way? And I noticed it while I was watching. He smashes his face into the wall. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He also drags it across the ground.
Well, but thing was, he was dragging it across the ground, but his face was fine then.
No, I think it's stated that it's the dragging is the reason.
Yeah, like his eyes were
see his eyes
there for a little bit, but I mean,
by the time he got there, it was gone. Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay.
Pretty much just sawed right off.
Yeah.
Because he was just doing it to protect his. They said since his body was so heavy, he just had to kind of hide all of his vital points until he got to the wall,
Yeah.
and then they just enacted the trap, which was actually a pretty cool plan. Just blow the hell, blow him the hell up.
Yeah, and it
Throw
worked great too.
large explosives at him.
Yeah, and then like it worked out perfectly because the queen got to be a complete and utter badass and save the people, and then just stand up and be like, "I'm your queen."
Check this shit out. And the other guys are like, okay, whatever.
No, they're like, yes, Queen.
Yes, queen! Anyway, can I go back to my store now?
I do like they kind of ignore all the collateral damage too. Like there's a bunch of like fleshy chunks that don't disappear immediately that probably rain down on a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was really a dick move though to like not evacuate them. I know why they didn't, but
They
like
should have.
man, yeah, that was a real risk.
But I just want to like Historia. It was not just the final moment, but I mean this is good. She was just this whole arc. She's been just badass, and I really like that Attack on Titan takes their secondary and even tertiary characters like Krista, and just they get uh, such such good focus like this. Now, if only Armin, sorry, if only Aaron could get that. I like how
Aaron,
Aaron actually looked at Chris and is like, wow, I suck.
yeah. I mean,
He
it's funny.
does.
He actually said what I said last week, where he's like, "Wow, his story has really grown, and I just haven't." Oh, and then he punched himself a bunch of times.
He was like, I'm mad!
It's like, stop punching yourself. Stop punching yourself.
Remember when he was like pointing out to Armin these three kids down below, and it's like, they're exactly like us. And it's like, Aaron, I can't see shit. We're on a very tall wall.
Yep.
Who the fuck are you pointing at?
those ants right there.
No, not
Right there.
no, not those three. Those three. Anyway, shit was gross, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. This was a really good episode. I mean, this show has gotten so good. I mean, I just gotta say.
Not just that, at the very end, I love the teaser too. Oh my god, they almost killed Kenny.
But no!
Titan formula. Dun dun dun.
Anyway, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, Episode 9. Yukako Yamagishi Falls in Love, Part 2. In this episode, she just transforms directly into Kathy Bates.
And
Seriously.
And
Koichi's like, you just transformed to Kathy Bates? Well, I'm gonna transform to Perfect Cell, bitch.
that's after he pees himself.
Yeah, he's got to pee himself first.
Oh man, big props to Yukiko's voice actor for this. The way she sells those lines oh my god, we just pick a line. You was it
Oh, it was fantastic.
oh god, pants wedding loser.
He did wet himself.
Well, I could have sworn she said like something panty wearing.
I so many of those little insults go right over my head when I'm watching this.
But
Yep.
they were good insults. Oh man, and that towards the end she just goes batshit crazy and it's just glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go far, I'm making an electric chair.
Oh my god.
What the
No, I'm running faster.
how did she get the materials for an electric chair?
She's a yandere. You don't ask that question.
And Koichi just tattooing "I hate you," and then she just gets over it.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
She's just that freaking. She's that yandere.
Anyway,
Yep.
this episode introduces you to the magic of dial tones. It turns
Oh,
out it's the noise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. Actually, I'm not going to go too much into this, but this is a thing from back in the day where long distance systems they were operated completely by the tones that they hear, and you could make like calls if you just mimic the dial tone sounds, and that's what he did. So this is a completely legit thing back in like the 80s, kind of maybe early 90s, before
Yeah.
everything went digital.
Before cell phones and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's one of the craziest things to actually be real.
Yeah.
Like people can just walk up to them and make sounds with their mouth and make a call.
Yeah. JoJo's good for those kind of bizarre facts that just happen out of nowhere. But it's also, I think it does illustrate us like how every stand has its like unique uses to kind of get in turns type fights to just from outright just punch battles to actual like, okay, how can I use my stand to get me out of this jam?
How can I use my stand that makes sounds to beat this stand that is hair?
And it turns out it doesn't do a very good job. So just like, you know what, screw it. I'll be the first evolving stand. Echoes
Exactly.
Act 2.
When the first thing comes out and it's like, this is Echoes Act 1, it's like, wait,
Act 1.
huh?
That's a very specific name.
Implying an Act 2.
Yep.
And Act 2's power set is probably one of the coolest power sets in any anime. So cool that they I always like it when it pops up in other forms. Basically, it takes the power up automatopoeia. So basically, the sounds the wards make become they become physical manifestations. So in this case, like whoosh becomes a gust of air.
Boing.
Boing.
Boing cape.
Boing cape, yeah.
The second
Yep.
Morio landmark, and I do like that it just kind of continues to build on Morio as a town, and it's just bizarre happenings. Just the two drunk fishermen going, "What, did you see a girl bounce off that rock?" Shut up,
Nope.
Shut up, Dad. You're drunk.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun episode. I mean, this Yukiko is pretty crazy, but at the same time entertaining to watch, you know?
I also like that song cue that plays when Koichi's cutting his hair with the Echoes Act 2. And we got some good demonstrations of what Echoes Act 2 can do.
Yeah, is this like, what does this mean, Act 2? Is this like, the stands now have like levels to them, or?
This is the first case of evolving stands, and it does get to it does kind of.
You know how Koichi wasn't supposed to get a stand but then he did because Josuke brought him back to life or healed him.
Yeah.
Basically, he's evolved. He's getting back. He's gaining more levels in badass.
Yeah, and as his character grows, so does his stand. So
most other people are going to come out with the stand already fully, formed. So there you go. Anyway, next week, be sure to bring your $30 Italian meal.
Yeah, don't spoil anything else about the episode. Like, I just want to see all those reactions fresh because it's gonna be delicious.
Delicious.
Everyone really needs to watch the next episode. It is probably one of the best, and it's like if you want to crystallize JoJo into an episode, it's the next episode.
Anyway, if you wanted to crystallize Black Clover into an episode. Black Clover, episode 43, Temple Battle Royale. Everything is Fortnite.
I'm not a freaky fish guy.
He is a freaky fish guy.
Anyway, they beat up a whole bunch of freaky fish dudes.
They're not even really freaky fish guys. They're just people in freaky fish masks.
I'm incredibly disappointed they aren't actually fish people.
I know.
Anyway, surprise! Singer Girl was actually down here.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. It's alright.
Nobody could have possibly seen that.
Yeah. You're right. But like,
when you're like shotgunning through the manga, it's not that bad. But when they drag it on for 30 minutes, it's like,
yeah. I still don't mind this character though. I think she's like, of all the characters on the show, she's pretty okay compared to most of them. So because she's not like stupid, and she's also like nice. I don't know. She's kind
Yes,
of
that's
endearing.
a super high bar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, this is in any other show she'd be pretty forgettable, but here it's like I don't mind when she's on screen because
Yeah.
it's like infinitely better than 90% of the cast.
Well, not just that though. I think this is the thing that really upsets me about Black Clover the anime, because in the manga, this is kind of the part in the manga where it kind of it starts to click with you and things start to gel because it becomes kind of more of an ensemble cast instead of just these main protagonists, and
Well,
it just allows people to bounce off each other, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the nice thing about having the dancer, the girl here, because you just one more character to bounce off of with the main cast.
but what are they bouncing off of each other? It's just going to be like Charmy going up to Luck and being like, I like food. And Luck being like, cool, I want to fight you. And then Gray
Yeah.
is over there and he's like, shoo.
Well,
Oh, God.
it's hard to. I mean, without I have to talk about future stuff to get to the point. But I mean, you get it's just like how they use their powers with each other, and it's really. I think this arc kind of solidifies where Black Clover goes. It goes going forward, but it's a lot easier to read in the manga when you're these chapters like these episodes are like 2-minute chapters when you're reading the manga. So when you
Yeah.
stretch it out to 30 minutes, it's really painful, and that's I think the biggest shame about Black Clover, because if they had
It
like
would
a
be
manga
so
pace,
much better if it was so much shorter.
exactly, like you'll just be snapping through arcs like that.
Well, it wouldn't be better, but it would get out of my way faster. Kind of
And
like
those,
kind of like how I finished all of Bleach. It's like, well, whatever. It takes a minute and a half to read this chapter.
exactly. I mean, it's the perfect popcorn for you. You eat it and it's gone. It's like, okay,
So,
Click,
so
click,
it's
click,
so
click,
it's
click,
just
done.
Bleach,
Yeah, it's Bleach.
only somehow worse.
Only worse.
I think those I would go back to bat for the manga a little bit, just because they're like I said, it's kind of inconsequential, and those after seeing the was it Goblin what's that D&D anime,
Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer, there is so much worse that could be you could be reading.
This is true.
Anyway, fuck this. Hunter x Hunter.
Oh my god.
Hunter x Hunter episode 116, Revenge and Recovery. Gon is fine. Everything is fine. Nothing bad is happening.
My name's Gone Freaks. I'm freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, this was
Ugh.
incredibly intense. And rightfully so. I mean, like, Gon is like people were saying like he's crazy here, but I kind of get what they're going for here. He can't compute what's happening here.
Yeah.
He thought that P2 was a monster, and suddenly he's like, "What? You're saving someone's life? What?"
His
Yeah.
the poor little chestnut brain that contains his moral compass is in a million pieces.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he is very black and white. Like I said in the thread, like what's happened to Gon is like if you put Goku into Berserk, like
No.
it would that would not end well.
No, well, Goku just like look strong, fight.
Yeah, but at the same
But
time,
then
like
then he sees Chi-Chi get raped by a bunch of demons, and then it's like, yeah.
yeah, and it's the kind of thing where it's like characters like these aren't used to things that aren't black and white, you know?
He already
Like-
had trouble with this with the Phantom Troop, where it's like,
Yeah.
you guys can't be friends. You kill people.
Exactly. Like the world he's in is too complicated for his type of character, and that's where a lot of the drama with Gon sort of comes from. And like this is more or less the start of his development.
Yeah, because if you remember, I mean, this was alluded to all the way back to before the Phantom Troops, even the Hunter exam, just how it kind of messed up Gon's morals were, especially when it comes to stuff like Hisoka, like his kind of friendship with Hisoka. It's like, dude.
I mean, it's his friendship with Killua. Killua was the assassin and also the moral compass.
I know
Yeah.
that, and I think that's kind of like how much Killua has grown, and just how broken down Gon has become as a character. And that's why I did want to emphasize when you think about it. Outside of a few flashbacks and the recap, this was essentially a bottle episode because there's just Pito, uh, Gon, and Killua, and besides a few key flashbacks to Killua's grandfather, uh, they're it's just them talking through this situation, and Killua trying to keep Gon from killing an innocent girl, and kind of reevaluating all of his life choices up to this point.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like, oh man, is he just gonna wipe out Komugi just to get to his fight?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, they're kind of in this weird spot where sort of the smart thing to do here in order to like complete the mission and save the world and all that stuff is just stomp P2 right now while P2 can't defend themselves, and then just go help everyone else.
And you also have to put you have to put yourself in their shoes. Killua figures it out pretty quickly about Komugi being the third party that
Yeah.
has been causing chaos with the King and the Royal Guard. But Gon has like, who the hell is this? She just knows that she's just got injured, and Pato's staking her life to protect, and willing to be completely defenseless to protect her. And Gon just can't even. uh,
Yeah, he's got that PTSD pretty bad. Like, Gon is sort of the example of why you don't want to just go off first impressions. Like, he is not capable of adjusting his view of someone at all.
and he built such kite to beats, and this is where kind of the anime adaptation kind of drops the ball. Kite was basically the closest thing Gon had to a father figure because he was the closest thing to his dad, both metaphorically and kind of literally, because he's Kite's closest to Jing. So just seeing having P- his having Kite's killer right in front of him, and he's just trying to process a lot, and it takes Killua to talk him down. And is Eric Mendez does Gon's voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big props to her on this one because she just has to have that kind of.
I have a little bit of criticism here for the performance in that it really felt like she was just constantly like, don't voice crack. Don't voice crack. Do not do that. And so it's just it's a bit too measured, I felt.
I felt like when Gon was actually breaking down, she did a really good part. Like, what the hell? But to each his own. I mean, that's kind of the fun about watching this show with a bunch of new people going in fresh.
Anyone else?
Yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking when Killua was just suddenly gone. I was like,
Yeah.
sad. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great episode. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be completely honest, it didn't quite live up to the hype of what I think people were building in my mind. But like, I can see why everyone likes this episode because it's just the intensity of it is you could cut the tension with a knife. It was so incredible.
I mean, normally this episode, like in any other shonen, would be like Goku going Super Saiyan or something. Like, the hero has finally confronted, the main villain, and the big fight's about to start, and they have their
versus Lucci.
Yeah, and they got their big power up, and it's all about to go down. And instead, it's like, nope, here's like 12 different wrinkles, and everything that everyone's built up in their heads up to this point has been completely shattered.
I think Togashi is like, to me, is kind of coming across as like just a better storyteller than most.
Yeah.
And because of like you're saying, like you're right, in most kind of shonen shows, this would be the fight episode. But instead, it's all about like inner struggle and like
Yeah.
dealing with emotion.
And
That's
focus.
what this
Yeah.
episode's about.
And it's literally sort of subverting everyone's expectations of what they thought would probably happen here. Like any other show, this episode is the big power up, and it's gonna be, yeah, that's awesome. But you kind of know that the big power up is coming now, and you're like, oh god, what's that gonna look like? Because if this is what happened here, like, oh boy,
Yikes.
yeah. And then there's still the big conflict with the King and Meruem to come.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
there's
the
so
King
much
and
more to
Netero.
come. There's
Oh,
clear
my
we're not
God.
near the end yet.
And
No.
in a little defense of Gon too, like I think some people do raise a good point. If it was in a different situation, Bateau probably would not have any other qualms with killing him right on the spot.
Yeah.
So I mean, Gon's not completely wrong about him, but it's just kind of seeing Kamugi, who we know is a precious cinnamon roll.
Yes.
Yeah, really, these guys don't know anything about Komugi either, so
Right.
that's kind of another wrinkle.
Like it's one of those things where where part of me wishes that we could have seen all of this from Gon's perspective and sort of been like, wait, sort of had to figure it out alongside Killua.
Mm.
But then at the same time, if we had to go into a flashback to sort of show everything, it probably would have taken something away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's really good, and
Yeah.
I know that somebody unfortunately sort of leaked the fact that we're going to be, I mean, Gon's going to be sitting here for a while, and by a while
Yeah.
I mean like several episodes. So
Well,
All
I mean,
right,
he did say he's
While I'm
gonna,
killing our girl, can you please sit and wait on this boat?
yeah, like Pito did ask him to wait an hour, so
yeah,
he
but
could
in an
finish.
hour in this show is going to be like a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, like there were episodes that covered like 30 seconds in like
Right.
2 episodes, so it's not
So I
going to be
feel like
quite
we're going
that
to
bad.
probably not be hanging around here. We're going to go check out some other issue.
Yeah.
I guess.
This is second number 10 of the invasion.
Yeah,
I
pretty much.
actually, to be fair, I feel like it's probably like minute 3, but whatever.
I think it's actually more like minute 2 or minute 1.5 or some obscene ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Everyone is very good at speed talking.
Well, I mean, everyone's like superhuman, so they move super fast.
By the way, one last thing I'll say about this, because I know we need to wrap up, is that actually, Pito, I know she's like the bad guy, but this episode make me like her.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, she is undoubtedly the bad guy. Like, you look back at everything Pito has done, and it's like absolutely horrible and disgusting. And like,
The point is that Pito is the antagonist, not the bad guy.
Good point.
I mean, the
This is
thing
not
is,
man
yeah,
versus man. This is man versus animal.
yeah, like we should be wanting Gon to just smash P2 into dust right now, considering everything P2 has
I think
done.
that's what's my problem though, is that like I know what you're saying. She's a force of nature. She's an animal, but like the moment you give them compassion, the moment you give them human emotions, I don't think that analogy works anymore.
Well, that's the whole point of the arc is that that it should be one way, but then it's a completely other way, and everyone has to try and figure out a way to deal with it when they find out.
It's just old man Zeno walking into the room and being like, "Fuck this! You didn't tell me about this."
Yeah, and then Netero's like, "Man, I didn't know about this shit neither," but like there is going to be kind of a little bit of Netero trying to figure out if there is another way. Because, I mean...
Is this the first time that there's been a human Chimera Ant?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, they know about the Chimera Ants, but there's never been any like this big, I think. I think it's mostly been like, sort of these tiny things.
Maybe the most they've ever had to deal with before was like chimera bears.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, where there were mindless creatures rather than
Yeah.
intelligent creatures.
Like they were expecting a certain thing when they got here, and they found the exact opposite, and that's just gonna fuck everything up.
Well, anyway, that's our show. Unless anyone has anything else to say.
Are we gonna discuss fully coolly alternative in the V1 slot when it moves?
Nope.
No, we've kind
All I
of
can
set our
say
teeth
is
on
that
that.
I had the Hubble Space Telescope pointed at pets, and inconclusive.
We'll figure it out soon.
Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Toonami Escape Podcast. Thank you, B-Dubs.
Okay.
Thank you, C. Kohler.
No problem.
Glad you didn't have to leave
Yeah,
to
I
go
do
to
need
West
to leave
Virginia.
right now, but so we're at the end. That's good.
Yep.
Fallout 76. It's
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic West Virginia, so basically just West Virginia.
Pretty much.
Rax
It's no
says,
different than normal.
I'll be playing Dead Redemption 2 soon enough, so I can be part of the cool kids club playing video games.
yeah, video games are morally dubious now.
But they're fun.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Good night.